excited to be here. I'm Leia Gersing with my co-host,
Sarah Durr.
And today we are with our brand new guest from Fort Hays High School,
Vivian Nolte.
Yes, and we're so excited today to be talking about Wicked.
Everyone, I have an announcement. Popular, you're gonna be popular. I'll show you what shoes to wear, how to fix your hair, everything that really counts to be.
Wicked is a musical near and dear to the hearts of just about every theater kid out there, so it's no surprise people got excited when the movie version was announced. Starring Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, everyone is holding space for this film. So as we discuss, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And just to let everyone know, there will be some spoilers, so if you don't know the full story of Wicked, maybe just keep that in mind. So happy to be here, guys. Let's just start off initial thoughts of seeing the movie, how that made you guys feel.
It was so good.
It was so good. It was a really fun movie.
Yeah.
We were saying right after we saw it, it's like we hadn't seen a movie in a while where you left the theater being like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really was one of those movies that is just kind of it kind of feels like movies are coming back in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because the theaters, ever since 2020 and COVID and stuff, there's just a lot less going to movie theaters and stuff because you could watch everything from home. And now I feel like these bigger movies and these more exciting movies are just getting people excited and going to theaters and stuff, which is really fun.
Yeah.
First question, did the movie do the musical justice?
I would say it did. I've seen the musical live, but it was a long time ago. I was probably 7 or something,
Mm-hmm.
but my mom really loves the musical, so she took me and my sister to go with her once, and I don't remember much from it, but I think the movie definitely did the musical justice.
Yeah, I would say I really enjoyed it. I have never seen it live, sadly, so I can't speak to how it compares to the live performance, but I think in terms of the story and the music was amazing.
Yeah.
It was really entertaining, and I think it did it justice.
Yeah, and I know for the movie they actually pulled a lot more parts from the book that weren't in the musical. So not saying it's better than the musical, but in story-wise, it has more to it.
It's almost in a way its own thing.
Yeah.
It's less of a version of the musical on the screen, but it's its own version of the story. So yeah, that's really cool. And then, so in the movie, there's live singing. We know Cynthia and Ariana did most of their songs live on set. How do we feel about the live singing and how that might have changed the experience for the movie?
I think that that's really great. I think especially it can be tough to do these Broadway to movie adaptations, because I think a lot of the appeal of musicals and stuff is seeing a live performance and having witnessing that, especially for people who are trained in live performance. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
That's been a big critique and a big issue with a lot of other musical to movie adaptations, is they'll have these movie actors that are very much movie actors or pop singers or something like that. But I think here it translated really well because these actors do have experience with live performance, and I think that really showed through in the musical, that the performances they mesh really well with that kind of format.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. With the fact of them having real Broadway singers in the movie really made it a lot more powerful, and the singing live I think definitely made the movie a lot more of an experience, just in the fact that that's something that they are able to do and that they did it. I just think it's really great.
Yeah, the live vocals made it sound more of a actual musical experience, and it's not heavily auto-tuned, and it just made the experience so much more intimate with the audience. And you were saying about the critiques of if there's any sort of musical to movie adaptation, a big critique is having like actual like theater singers playing the parts, because a lot of times, I mean, we had with Mean Girls, there were critiques on some of the actors really weren't theater people, and so it sounded just kind of blah. And it didn't bring out that like theatrical vibe that you want to get from a Broadway show. And this one was perfect, and people might have even thought that about Ariana Grande, but she has a Broadway past, she has a Theater Kid past, and she
does.
insanely talented. And I feel like, how do you guys feel about that? Sometimes people maybe don't notice Ariana Grande's true talent when it comes to this. They're just like, oh, she's just a pop star, but I think we saw, especially with this movie, that she's much more than that.
Yeah, and I think people forget like how great of a singer she was back when she was on like Victorious.
Yeah.
Like it's like the same style of singing. Like I think that just shows like obviously she has the talent to do this, and I know like her like pop songs make people think like that's the only way she can sing, but obviously it's not.
Yeah.
I think even with like the first number in the music, like in the movie, they really opened with that of her using like a much more theatrical version of her voice.
Yeah.
Like I think immediately you could tell like, oh, this is gonna be different than the other stuff she's been doing.
Yeah. And she has an insane range, and it's something that you're able to see in a lot of her performances. She kind of she can do so many impressions. So I feel like it's no surprise to someone who like is very familiar with her as an artist that she could do something like this. And so I feel like, I don't know, people just got to pay attention and see that she's just so amazing. And let's talk about Cynthia Erivo.
Cynthia Erivo,
Amazing.
amazing.
Absolutely amazing. She is so talented, so inspiring. And I think her character is going to be so inspiring to young girls out there. Her and Galinda and Elphaba, I feel like represent a sisterhood that's really important for young girls to envision growing up. So let's talk about that, the sisterhood and the importance of that.
Yeah, I think it's amazing to see their friendship kind of grow and change throughout the movie, especially as it starts off a little rockier. They're kind of, they don't get along very much, but I think it's so beautiful to see how they kind of become closer through the end of the movie.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just like being able to watch like their journey from like frenemies to like best friends, it's just so beautiful, and I think it captures like the beauty of friendship, sisterhood just so nicely.
Yeah, and the fact that they're like catty with each other is very sister-like.
It is, yeah. And the fact that they're just very different, like
and they still like end up being like best friends. To the classics, what was your guys' favorite song in the movie?
Ooh, that's a hard question.
I've definitely had a favorite off the Wicked soundtrack for a while. I think The Wizard and I will always be a favorite for me. It's just, it's so good.
So good. Yeah, I love The Wizard and I.
I mean, like ever since I was younger, I've always loved Popular, and I think Ariana's rendition was really good. I just love like the direction she went with it. She made it very playful, but still like, you know, honoring the original version. So I think that might be my favorite just because of how fun it is.
Yeah, that one was so silly. I really like that one too. I honestly think in this, maybe this is basic, but you know, I love Defying Gravity.
Yeah.
That scene gave me absolute chills in the movie.
Me too.
I don't even know. I've never seen it live, so I don't know if I would get those chills live. But when I was sitting there in that theater, I was like, oh my God.
Yes.
Favorite effect? I know that we were kind of talking about some effects that we thought were cool in the movie. So does anyone have any specific effects that they wanted to mention?
I thought it was really crazy that Cynthia Erivo did all her own stunts in the movie.
Yeah.
That was, she was flying around,
singing
singing
while
at the
doing
same
it.
time.
Did you guys see that clip?
I did. That was crazy.
I was like,
Like she's able to sing that well while being like turned upside down, flying through the air. It's crazy.
and her voice is like smooth like butter. And it's like, when I'm like singing, if I was being flying around, can't even do that standing straight up. It's insane.
I don't know if this is like counts as an effect, but I really enjoyed all of the sets and the fact that
Yeah.
they actually built them. Like at the beginning, the poppy fields, they planted all of those flowers just
Wow.
just for the
I
set.
didn't know that.
And like the shiz set, like that's all built. They built like the water around it. I just think that's really impressive, and actually like building like huge sets, putting all the effort in, that definitely made the movie a lot better and like added to all the cinematic quality of it.
Yeah, I think that more recent movies with their heavy amounts of like CGI, and it's all now that we're in more technology advancing times, it's easy to use a lot of CGI and be like, well, it's cool because it's like the future. But when they actually like use like the technology in the future for like hard work and like with the sets and stuff, it creates such a better project, and it's so cool to see that come alive.
Yeah, I think it really does bring it to life so much more, especially with something like this that's more theatrical, because it's like, I don't know why you would just want these characters to kind of be floating around in a CGI abyss,
right,
you know? Like,
right.
I think it just brings it to life so much more to know that these sets were really there, and like makes it look so much more like in depth.
And I would imagine it helps like the director kind of like get a visual of what it's actually gonna look like as well. I wonder how people like plan out with CGI when it's just like the green screen or like abyss. Like I wonder how directors like visualize what it's gonna look like. Me myself, I haven't tried it. What was our favorite character? Or I guess who was our favorite character?
I'll have to think for a second.
I'm gonna say I really liked, I think, Galinda.
I think she's definitely a lot of people's favorites. Maybe not at first just because she's a little stuck up, but she's just so funny and like such a comedic character.
We love a comedic relief.
Yeah.
I really liked the goat.
Me too.
I was
The
a big
goat
fan of the
professor.
Dr. Dillerman.
Yes.
When he got taken away, I did cry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kept seeing like people on TikTok said like when they were in the theater watching it, people would laugh at that part, and that made me really sad.
That's really upsetting.
That's so cruel. Why would they do that?
Like
you guys
they did
not even
not
get
get
the
the point
movie?
of the movie.
Come on, guys. I know who's on what side if they were there.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously we talked about did the movie do the musical justice, and I think it's clear that the movie also did the original movie justice. But let's talk about that. Do you guys agree?
I loved all the small references to it.
Yeah.
I thought that really brought things together a lot.
Yeah.
Like there was the one part, Elphaba and Fiora were on the bikes, and the lion was in the basket on the back of hers, and it was like mimicking like the part in The Wizard of Oz when I think it's like when the tornado is happening, or like right before that.
Yeah.
And the woman who was like supposed to be the Wicked Witch is riding on her bike and with Toto in the basket.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I love those subtle references.
Yeah. It's kind of fun. It's fun to see.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited to see like Dorothy and the other original characters in part 2 of Wicked.
Yes. Part 2 is exciting. Let's get into talking about more of our expectations for part 2 after we do some trivia. So this is about Kristen Chenoweth.
Yeah.
The original Galinda. She has played many amazing roles throughout Broadway, movies, but which one of these roles has she not played? Okay. A. Galinda from Wicked. B. Rosetta from Tinkerbell. C. Sandy Cheeks from SpongeBob. Or D. Aunt Susan from Holiday. The answer was C. Sandy Cheeks.
That's what I said.
That's what I said.
We're all
You guys are
tied
so
up.
And
smart.
here's the thing, is that
Each
at
person has a
first
point.
I was gonna say Rosetta, but then I remembered That's not the answer.
Well, good.
So
I'm glad that you
I just want you to know
remembered
my
that.
process.
I didn't know she voiced Rosetta, but then I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know, that
I
does
think
sound a
she
lot like
does.
her.
That's what I was thinking, because, you know, I'm a big Tinkerbell fan, so.
All vocals were live on set. True or false?
This is a trick question.
All right, guys. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
The answer was false.
That's what
That got
I put
me.
true, but then I was like, well, I don't know about all of them.
Not all of them. That's what it's a trick question.
It's just-
that was
it's
you
the
got
all vocals. Not all of them are live.
You got both of us.
You got us.
How many matching tattoos did Cynthia and Ariana get regarding the film? A, 6. B, 5. Or C, 3.
Okay, this is throwing me off because they got
Because
more than
I've-
one
I've-
matching tattoo.
I've heard an answer that's not on that list.
Really?
Yeah.
What are your sources here?
I looked at it. I watched an interview of them showing the tattoos they got, and I counted the ones that they had matching.
So
They
got
did get
multiple matching tattoos?
they got multiple Wicked tattoos, and they got multiple matching ones. But they're all
I thought
Wicked.
they were all matching.
Oh my god.
I guess we'll have to take a wild guess. All right.
All right.
Can you read them
I'm
again?
just-
A, 6. B, 5. C, 3.
Probably wrong.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is C, 3.
Really?
I got it.
I had the tallies up here.
Only
There's
3 were
two-
matching?
Cynthia got 2 more that weren't the 3 matching. And then Ariana got 1 from the interview that I watched.
Because maybe people are just blowing it out of proportion, but they were like, oh, they got 10 matching tattoos.
10 matching tattoos.
And I'm like, whoa, that's a lot.
No, I haven't heard
So,
that one.
I thought that was how many.
Especially now when there's just so much art that has been created, there have been a lot of remakes, especially with films. Like, we've got a lot of just repeats, sequels, prequels, all the things. What separates a necessary remake and an unnecessary remake?
I think that a lot of it, personally, I feel like I have been getting a little tired of some of like the remakes and
Yeah.
it seems like every big movie that's coming out nowadays is just a remake of something else.
Yeah.
But I think if it's adding something to the story, or even like in this case, something that might not be accessible to everyone, not everyone is going to be able to see a live performance. So I
Yeah.
think that putting it in this format can make it better. It can add to the audience of how many people can enjoy it, and it can just, you know, they did so much with set design and audio production in terms of like doing justice to the original. I think that there's clearly something, they had a goal in mind of like how they were improving it versus other sequels or remakes where it just feels like they have an opportunity to make a remake and they're not
Yeah.
really trying to do anything with it. I think that this was a lot different. I think you
Yeah.
can really like tell.
Yeah, and Sarah mentioned set design, and I think maybe it's just because I was younger, but seeing the musical, I didn't really follow the story as well. And having it being able to, like, be seen, like, in all the different sets and, like, different settings, and it really helps to understand what exactly is going on. So I think this remake was necessary for that reason. Like, I could definitely follow the story, and it brought the story, I think, more to life than the musical could. But unnecessary remakes, I think, are when they take cartoons and make them live action. And that's, like,
Yeah.
that's been going on for a while now, and that's, like, pretty much all the new movies that have been coming out. So I think,
Yeah, especially through like Disney with like the Disney
Yeah.
princesses.
yeah, and now, like, How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
But I
And
think
it's
this,
like, do we really
do we really need that? I think the cartoon has character, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think this remake was definitely necessary because it wasn't a movie before. So I think seeing it in a movie form was just really exciting.
Yeah. I love that perspective because I was thinking like I don't know, I feel like if you do it well, it'll work out. But I love thinking about like how people can relate more to the movie because maybe they don't see it, they don't have access to it, or they didn't follow it as well through theater. So it's just kind of like another way to see this story. And then also it's like just like doing it well and representing it in a good way. I feel like a lot of movies, like they might even have like remakes have like false things, or like they add random things that don't really make sense. And this one kind of contributed to the story while actually telling it the right way. You know?
No, I think that like, yeah, especially like with the set design and stuff, I feel like so many of these new remakes, they're just like all CGI.
Yeah.
And it's like I didn't really need a new a CGI version of this animated movie.
I think like in that case it just makes the movie worse and no one wants to
Exactly.
see it.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
but
Well-
I will say the live action Snow White looks kind of good.
Oh,
It does
so
look
I am
really good.
excited.
I love
And I
Rachel,
love Rachel Zegler.
Another person who has a lot of experience with
Yeah.
with Broadway singing and
Yeah.
that type of acting.
Maybe that'll make that movie good.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what, and specifically, like, my mom is a big theater person, and that's an issue that she has with a lot of movie remakes of theater, is she's like, it's just not, like, there are so many amazing, like, theater singers and people who would do amazing in these parts, but they take, like, celebrities to play them so that they'll
Yeah.
get, like, more attention.
And it's not only the singing, it's also like the dancing, because I remember
Yeah.
when they made the, what is it called? West Side Story?
West Side Story.
Into a movie.
Yeah.
And the male lead, I don't remember the actor's name, but he was not a Broadway person.
He wasn't
And
good.
like him dancing compared to like the background dancers, like it's just crazy. They're so much better than him.
Yeah, it's also
Yeah.
crazy to think there's like so many Broadway actors or like even just Broadway people that train like their whole lives
Yeah.
for these roles and they dedicate their lives to like studying them and everything like that. And then that has to be a little disheartening to see like just some celebrity who like does TV shows or something get the role and maybe not do it to the extent that someone who's has that experience could have performed it.
Yeah. That's why I love Cynthia Erivo being the choice for Elphaba. I don't think that there could be a better choice. She
Yeah.
is so amazing. She's done a lot of theater. I just think she was such a great choice. And I feel like
Yeah.
people they weren't upset about it when she was
No.
casted. I know everyone always has something to say when there's a remake live action of something. And the casting, they always have something to say about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I don't know, people didn't have much to say about it 'cause they were silent because they knew.
I feel like they did say like a few things about Ariana, just like
Yeah,
they didn't think she had that type of like singing talent.
yeah,
But I think she proved them wrong.
I think she did too.
I think especially with Cynthia Erivo's role, it's like that's such a important like role to fill, and I think she
Yeah.
really lived up to it because
She really
there's
did.
so many like songs where whoever plays that role has to have like that
Yeah.
kind of voice, and I think she really like
Yeah.
she did amazing on it.
Yeah, I love like how she took that character and sort of made it her own a little bit. Like I know in the musical they're not really allowed to like ad lib or anything, you know, like riff,
Yeah.
but I think the movie that gave them a lot more freedom, so she kind of took
Yeah.
the songs, made them her own. And I think that was really beautiful.
They worked so
Yeah.
well with her voice. It
Yeah.
was amazing.
Her voice is so good.
Mhm.
Yeah. Part 2 will be coming out. We only saw part 1 this time.
Yeah.
And part 1 kind of has all like those really popular songs that people, even who don't really know the music that well, recognize. Part 2, how do we feel? Like, do we think it's gonna be as popular? Do we think that this first part is bringing enough attention for people who maybe weren't excited before to get excited about part 2?
I think maybe it won't be as popular. I know I would see it for sure, but I know they didn't really advertise it as like a 2-part movie, and a lot of
Yeah.
people were kind of upset about that, and like they didn't really want to wait that long for the next part to come out.
Yeah.
But maybe they'll change their mind when it comes out.
True.
Yeah, I kind of think similarly. It didn't feel like a story that was really like it felt kind of complete, even though there is that kind of like to be continued aspect of it. I think that the story feels very fulfilling, at least as like a prequel. So I don't know if there's gonna be that level of like suspense, I guess, waiting for another one. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I think just based on the excitement that there was for this movie and a lot of like the positive reviews, I think that people will probably be willing to go see it and be excited to go see what else there is to the story.
Yeah.
I also think there was like I guess like a falling out of like movies with multiple parts, and maybe that's why people aren't really used to it anymore. But like, for example, like the Harry Potter movies, like
Yeah.
no one's mad that there's multiple movies for those.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the story's that long, it needs to have multiple parts.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of exciting that there's 2 parts, because then in the future, like, if you watch part 1, it's like, all right, now let's watch part 2, movie marathon.
Yeah. It gives movie marathon to the future generations of movie watchers.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I think that it won't be as popular, to be honest, just because I think not all the popular songs are going to be there, and then also people are going to be like, they watch part 1 and they're kind of like, okay, hype is gone. And that's the thing about the internet, is it moves so quickly now. So it really is kind of taking a risk turning it into 2 different parts, but I think it was necessary. Like, this was one part in itself, this was one movie in itself, and I think we can all agree on that. So making it like the full 2 parts, I think would have to cut out so much of the movie. So I'm glad they're making it 2 parts, but I do think, yeah, there are always going to be the people that are kind of like attention span too short.
Yeah.
Yeah, and are we excited for part 2? How are you guys feeling about
I'm
part
so
2?
excited. I'm so excited.
Any expectations for part 2? I don't really know like the story. I like listen to the
Yeah.
music, but I don't know the story too well, so I don't really know what to expect for part 2.
I don't really know the story that well either, and I don't really know the songs from part 2. Maybe I'm a fake fan for saying that, but it's just the
Me
truth.
neither.
No, I'm the same. I am excited to see it because I really don't know what to expect. Like,
It's gonna be more of a surprise.
I
which is
suppose
cool.
it's like a little bit in the future, because it's like when Dorothy's
Yeah.
there too.
Yeah.
So.
And we saw at the beginning of the movie, like, the Elphaba, she was like burned by the water or something. And so I assume that's kind of where we'll start off, or not start off.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's where we'll start
I
off for
think-
part 2. Will we start off before that?
I think maybe like, because at the beginning of part 1, it's Glinda like retelling all of this, like all of the rest of part 1. So maybe part 2 will start like in the time that she's telling that story. Like, it'll go back to like her being in Munchkinland, you know, after the news that the Wicked Witch was dead. I think maybe it starts from there, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
yeah, I think with prequels, it's always fun to kind of guess because you start, especially, you know, you've seen The Wizard of Oz, like what it's based off of, and you know, like, okay, this is where the characters are going to be at some point. And so in the middle of the movie, trying to guess, like, wait, how do they get there? Like,
Yeah.
how, because especially the start of the movie, you see there's some sort of falling out between Glinda and Elphaba, but then
Yeah.
in the middle of the movie you're seeing how close they are and you're kind of left wondering, like, what happened, like, how do they end up not liking each other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even at the end of part 1, like, they obviously still have so much love for each other, and they're just
Yeah.
going their separate ways, but it's kind of confusing, like, when does it really go so bad that she's like
Yeah.
able to be like, she's wicked and she's dead, bye.
Well, I think she was mourning her. I
Yeah.
don't think she was actually,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
saying she's wicked.
Yeah.
She's dead.
Yeah, she probably wasn't like I think deep down she was definitely sad about it, but there had to have been something that happened, because I mean, to be able to like burn, like she burned the whole thing of her. So it's kind of what happened. How did we get there?
I don't know. I know a lot of people, I don't know if it's like their own interpretations or like if it's actually like what is going on, but like people say like Glinda sees herself as the wicked one. So maybe like when she's burning the statue, maybe she's like envisioning it as herself. I don't know.
Oh, that's a really good way of thinking of
And
it.
I know people will like interpret the lyrics because they say no one mourns the wicked, but some people say it's like no, comma, one mourns the wicked, and it's her. It's Glinda.
Ooh, interesting.
Like she's the one that mourns her because she's the one that knows who she really is.
Wow.
Isn't that eye-opening?
That's eye-opening.
is. Wow.
I don't know. I don't know if that's like true to the story,
it's like a theory.
But
I love
yeah,
that theory.
I like that.
Yeah, that's so cool.
I'll have to watch it again and think of that.
I just don't want. I just don't like to think that like she didn't really believe in Elphaba.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I feel there's something off about it.
Yeah.
I say we do
Trivia?
some
Are you
more
ready for
trivia.
What's our score at?
You have 2. I
have
have 1.
So
Okay,
Sarah, I don't know.
okay.
We still don't remember if Sarah has one.
I don't remember if I've ever won a trivia before.
I don't know if you have, but you
I
might have.
I think I lost last time
What was the last one? With Jason?
with Jason.
You guys might have tied.
Oh that's right.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see if I'll redeem
Wait, I already did these.
my losing streak.
Ariana Grande originally auditioned for Elphaba. True or false? Answer is false. She auditioned for both.
That's why I said I think it's a trick question.
It
This is an
Because
unfair question. 'Cause
In an interview I've seen, she said she showed up with her pink water bottle and her pink shirt, but they made her sing both.
so technically she did audition for Elphaba in addition to Glinda.
But she didn't originally audition for Elphaba.
Okay.
Did you put false?
I put true.
You put true?
Wait, what was the question?
Ariana Grande originally auditioned for Elphaba. True or false?
Oh wait, I meant to put false.
Oh no! I don't know how to count this. Should I
think
just
that
give you
counts
guys
as a point because
Okay.
then we'll be tied.
Okay, you can have a point.
I can have a point?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. This one's good. You guys aren't gonna get this one.
Stop trying to trick us.
When did Elphaba turn green? A. When she was born green. I'm gonna give you a hint. That's not the answer. B. When she was cursed. C. When she got in trouble. And the answer is C. When she got in trouble.
Hey.
A. She was born green. So you each get a point.
She
She's gonna
says-
be the tiebreaker. How did the writer of The Wizard of Oz come up with Oz? A. Filing cabinet. B. Name of his dog. Or C. His daughter thought it was silly. You guys give me your answers.
I said A, the filing cabinet.
And I said A, the filing cabinet.
You guys are right.
Let's
He looked down at a filing cabinet that
'Cause
said O
through
to Z.
That's what I was thinking when you said that. I was like, wait, that sounds good. And I almost went with because his daughter thought it was silly.
That's what I thought that was the most
guys are
realistic
so
sounding one.
So
Stupid.
that means we're tied.
And also, it means that I'm really good at creating trivia questions because I made the other two
I guess
up.
you redeemed yourself.
I guess I did. You see, sometimes I can be good at trivia.
Okay.
Well, guys, this has been so much fun. Thank you, Vivian, for being
Thank
here
you for
today.
having me. Thank you for having me to talk about this amazing movie.
Yes. This has been so fun. So excited to come here and talk about theater because we all love some singing and dancing type movies.
Yes.
So yeah, thank you everyone so much for listening. Please come back for our next episode. Coming out, hopefully we'll get one out there soon. We'll see you at the movies. Bye.